Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. This review is for BMF Season 2, Episode 1, The Family Dinner. So we open up the episode with a flash forward to 2005 where we got T narrating what's going on. He's on the phone talking to somebody, one of his female or something, telling them the feds already got Meech. They tried to get him, but he got away and came to the crib to grab the rest of some money he left there. He's packing everything up. He puts a picture of him and Markeisha, Lala's character, in the bag. He gets ready to go eat with his crew, 263. They sit down, they're talking about family, how they may not see each other for a while after that particular night. They toast everything. As they're toasting, the cops bust in, and it's Detective Bryant and another detective. And, you know, he served them the warrant. And T was like, it took you 20 years to track me down, and I'm still a legend, and you done lost everything. Bryant, he didn't say much of anything. Handcuffed him, took him outside, put him in the backseat of the car. At that point, he's sitting there reflecting on stuff Lucille done told him from back in the day, and basically was like, you can't run from your past. He said that, once again, that Meech had already been arrested, and he felt like he was always smarter than Meech until he wasn't. So then we get a flashback to the late 1980s. We're in Vegas with Meech. Meech down there trying to get some work. He's talking to a guy named Earl who's trying to talk to him about this fight that's going on in Vegas and how this is a big time event that he should be down here instead of trying to rush back to Detroit. Meech tell him he about his paper. He don't really have time for that. So Earl was like, let me put you down on game. So they walking through the casino and Earl introducing, well, not introducing, but he's pointing out all the big time players that's in the building. He's like, when there's certain events like this is where all the big time players come out to flex and show off what they got and, you know, work their business like that. And he was like, if you're not here, you ain't made it yet. And Meech got the hint. They dap it up, and he told him, look, if you ever really want to talk and you come down to the ATL, just holler at me. Meech was like, bet. He heads to the airport. He see the drug dogs, and he like, oh, hell nah. Because he knows he has all this work strapped to his waist. So he's like, let me go and get a bus pass, a Greyhound bus pass. He paid $24.80. And I'm like, damn, that could not be today, 2023, because I know that bus pass probably high as hell. So he gets on the bus to head back to the D without incident. So my nosy ass wanted to know how much is a Greyhound bus ticket in 2023. And I saw going from Las Vegas to Detroit, the lowest that they had was like $192 all the way up to like $269. Now, I know it's only a TV show, and they had Meech's ticket saying $24.80. But keep in mind, that was back in the late 80s where things were a lot cheaper. But it's just quite interesting to see how things have really changed. So we see T and his homeboy. He in there trying to get his chauffeur's license so he can drive with Charles, his dad. And they back there running their mouth, disturbing the rest of the class. The instructor gets up and go and takes T's test. And T was like lying, talking about, oh, I was asking him for something. And the guy was like, it doesn't matter, you know, I got to take your test and grade it as is. He's like, I'm not finished. So it is what it is with that. He gets home. He sees that Wanda's back, but he can't even hold his baby good enough because the minute he walk in the door, Charles is like, hey, did you pass that test? And he was like, well, what kind of question is that? And I'm saying to myself, like, well, it's a good question because did you? Because we didn't see you pass the test because you didn't finish the test. So are you out there riding dirty, T? We need to know. Or did you pass the test off camera? So we see Charles and Lucille sitting in this diner, and Lucille, she's staring off at this couple. She's on the outside looking in, thinking they got their shit together, that they're so in love, and they enjoying each other's company and this and that and the other. Then she looks down at her Wendy's hat, and then she looks at Charles, and he's over there scoffing down the goddamn donuts. And he was like, did you want it? And she was like, no, you already ate it. So then, she tells him that should have been us. So she points to the couple. Charles looks, he turns around like, whatever. And they get to talking about finances. They're basically still going through the financial hardships they were going through before. Talking about Nicole and her lunch money and that she needs clothes and bras and all this and that. Charles sitting over there talking about when him and T get this business up and running, he gonna take her to Carl's Chop something, some steakhouse or somewhere, and he got some console he got put on layaway, and Lucille looking at him like, what? Like, are you serious? So Charles basically let her know, can we talk about something else? Because I really don't want to talk about finances and the kids. And Lucille looking at him like, well, what the hell else is there to be talking about? And he was like, well, let's just get to work. They decide they're going to go to work because, the two of them, they just got a lot going on. And later on in the episode, we see that it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And Charles decides he wants to get some. Like, why he couldn't get some earlier in the night is beyond me. But it's like 3 o'clock. Lucille looks at the clock. She got to be to work in a couple of hours. She tells him no, basically. And he was like, come on. It's like been 3 weeks. And she was like, I'll catch you another time. And I'm like, wow. So I guess now is where we're really seeing the marital struggles between the two of them. It seems like it has mostly to do with financial at this point, but being that they're not even having sex now, it probably will later lead on to infidelity, because everybody and their mama know a man not gonna go too long. It's already been like 3 weeks, and I'm sure Charles just gives me the type like, if you're not gonna give it to me, I'm gonna get it from somewhere else. So maybe that probably is gonna come into play in addition to the finance problems. So we go over to the basketball game where we have T and his homeboy. Meech is there with B Mick because he's over there trying to get up with K9. And when they get in there, T, he sees Markeisha, which is Lala's character. She walks in all in slow motion, sucking on a lollipop and all that. And he is in awe. His heart can't take it. He has this biggest crush on her, so he stares at her the whole time. We all remember that she is married to Boone, and everybody sees T staring at the lady. So K9, he wins the basketball game, so we go outside. And we now learn that T and Meech, they're still not talking. Meech is apparently still mad because T decided he wanted to get out the game, but T does try to talk to him or whatever, and Meech tells him, I don't have nothing to say to you. And Meech like, well, fuck you, basically. So K9, he comes out. The other coach steps to him and accuses him of cheating, paying the refs off. And K9 was like, well, you need to pay up your bet. You owe me $20,000. So the other coach was like, I'm not giving you a damn thing. And basically, broad daylight, K9 takes out his gun and shoots him smack in the head. Everybody goes running. And the thing I noticed was T, even though Meech just had dissed him or whatever, he still ran back to look to see where his brother was at. But when he did that, K9 was in the car and ordered for Meech to get in the car with him after he just shot somebody dead to the ground in broad daylight. So Meech jumps in the car and T standing there looking like, I be damned. So we get introduced to Veronica Jen. She's Bryant's new partner. So they're on their first ride together, and they're having their little banter back and forth. And she's telling him why she's there, because she got promoted from where she came from and this and that and the other. So we see B. Mick walking down the street. Bryant notices him. Veronica asks Bryant, is he all right? And he was like, he's straight. But she picks up on that, looks in the rearview mirror, I guess, to get a mental note of B. Mick. So when something comes up later on, she's going to remember his reaction to that particular person. So she pays attention to everything. So I kind of like that part about her, but I'm going to keep my good eye on Miss Veronica. So we see Meech taking the work back over there to K9 that he got from Las Vegas. So he's trying to state his case about why K9 needs to put him on or whatever. And they're going back and forth with all of that. And here comes Big L out of the blue. Soon as Meech sees her, he's like annoyed as hell, like, oh, hell no, like she finna mess everything up. So K9 go to introduce her, and she was like, oh, I've already met him. I know who he is. You know, he's a great salesman. I just wasn't sold. So she's flirting all with K9 and stuff. And I'm like, girl, what y'all got something going on? Because ain't his girlfriend Peaches sitting right there? I didn't get all of that. But she walks off. And when she leaves, K9 looks at Meech and was like, well, if she not messing with you, what make you think I'm going to mess with you? Just like Meech was looking like, damn, she done messed me up. And he was like, well, I'll be in touch, or maybe I won't. And he leave Meech sitting there looking crazy. So we go over to Detective Bryant's house, where we see him going inside of this lockbox that contains an evidence bag, something that looks like it needs to be down to the precinct that he probably didn't go and log in and decided to keep for himself. And we also know he does have B. Mickey's gun, so I don't know if that's what it is or in addition to other things. So he locks it back up and he puts it away. He goes in the kitchen. We see his son, Kevin. I didn't know he had a son, but here we are. The little boy, Kevin, he's sitting there trying to make him some breakfast, eating his peanut butter Pop-Tarts. Mean-ass Bryant told him he don't want him eating that. It was nasty. Go and eat the oatmeal. He wants him to bulk up a little bit. And, you know, Kevin, you know, he goes to fix the oatmeal, and then Brian decides that he wants to adjust the buttons on Kevin's shirt because he buttoned it up wrong. So when he tried to button it up, he realized that he had this T-shirt on underneath that had superheroes on it. And he told him that he thought that was inappropriate for school. And the little boy basically kind of begged him. You know, he told him that it was a character that he created. And then he showed him this book that he's been working in that has all his characters in it. He's apparently very, very smart and talented. So he says that he feels safe. He begged him, can he wear the shirt, you know, because he feels, you know, I guess safe with the shirt on underneath. So I guess his dad was like, is the kid still bothering you at school? So now they're throwing it out there that Kevin is being bullied at school. So we're going to put a pin in that, and we'll probably revisit that later on. So Bryant went ahead and let him wear the shirt or whatever, and he basically tried to let him know that, you know, your daddy is tough and you got toughness in your blood, so you're basically going to be fine. He told him he loved him. Kevin told him he loved him back, and both of them hugged it out. So I thought that was good that he softened up on him at the end, because he was acting a little kind of mean at first. So Meech basically invited Tiny's crew to come in and have a chat because he want them to all join together. Tiny basically told him, you know, we heard you don't have any kind of product. Like, what's the point? Like, until you get your act together, then, you know, we not coming back here. So basically, you know, they'll join, but Meech gonna have to show them something. So when they leave, B. Mickey basically gonna step to Meech and say, oh, well, you don't ever tell me nothing, blah, blah, blah. Like, how I'm supposed to know if you ain't talking to me, telling me nothing? And Meech let him know, look, I'm trying to go after K9 with all I got. And basically, he need this crew all together. So Meech, after that happened, he goes to see his mom. She's at work. You know, we know she works at Wendy's. She is so happy to see her son. You know, she barely sees Meech, if at all. So she's happy to see him. She's in the drive-thru. They chop it up a bit. Meech tries to give her some money, as he always does. And, of course, Miss Lucille does not take the money. And I'm like, girl, if you don't take that goddamn money, I know something. Like, give me the money, Meech. Like, don't nobody have time for this. You over there struggling, stressed the hell out. Got a hunch, damn, Charles broke his hell. Girl, take the money. Just take the money. Go pray about it later. Just take the money now. So we see T, he goes inside this insurance company, and at first I thought he was stalking her, but I guess it was just a coincidence that Markeisha just happened to be working in there. I don't know. So of course he wants to go to her window, and he goes up rambling all at the mouth, talks like, oh, I saw you at the game yesterday, and I saw you here and there and everywhere. And I used to be one of Pat's top earners. And Markeisha, she looking around like, oh my God, all embarrassed and stuff. Like, hush, I'm gonna need you to zip it up, zip it, zip it, zip it. And he told her he was there to get added to some insurance for his business or whatever. So she trying to hurry up and move him along and all that, and gave him the application, and he trying to flirt with her on the slide. And basically, she was like, he was like, call me T. She said, I'm going to call you by your real name. And he was like, whatever you do, just call me. So T goes home, and we see him laid up in the bed with Wanda. And he just smiling and carrying on. And she like, well, what you thinking about? And he just reminiscing about Markeisha, them having sex and all of that. And he was like, oh, I'm thinking about you. Then sat there and told that bold-faced lie. So as they're laying there, Wanda starts rambling on and on about all these little different plans she has for the baby, her and T. And T was looking like, wait a minute, like, you just ran off with my child. Like, basically trying to say, you think you just gonna come back and you got all these plans and got it all figured out. And basically, he told her, like, he gonna need a minute. Like, it's just not gonna work out like that. So she was like, so what, we starting over? And he was like, yeah. And, you know, basically, you know, they started having sex again. But I understand that. Like, you just don't come and go as you please and then think everything gravy like that. So we see Detective Brian and his partner. They're riding around the city. They're going back and forth with this little banter because she has this little good luck Buddha hanging from the car. So they're going back and forth about that. So they spot B, Mick, and Dink, and they jump out on them. Well, Jen doesn't jump out. Bryant jumps out talking about, I got the tall, slim one, knowing damn well he can't catch nobody. So he pretends he's going to chase B. Mick down. B. Mick jumps the fence, and of course he puts a smirk on his face and pull out his pack of cigarettes and start smoking like, I got you, I'll get you later type thing. So Dink, he think he done got in the clear. He just sitting around just walking like, oh, something about the cops, and he done fired up his joint and all of that. Next thing you know, Jen, she's still in the car, full speed ahead, done ran the boy over just like it was nothing. He done flipped all on top of the car. I thought the windshield was cracked, but it don't look like it. He fell back off the car, hit the concrete, and hit the pavement, and knocked his tooth out. I'm like, that's a damn shame. She gets out the car, put the handcuff on him or whatever, and here comes Brian again. They done got the bag of money. So I'm like, So T goes back inside of the insurance company where Markeisha works, and she was like, well, I thought you were supposed to be sending me some clients. He was like, oh, well, they're definitely coming. So he said, I brought you this orchid because I see the one on your desk, it's on its last leg. Basically, it's dead as hell. And she flashed her hand showing her wedding ring, and he was like, okay, ouch. And, you know, I guess he felt a certain kind of way a little bit, like, all right. So he ends up leaving. She's like, bye, Terry, and with a little smile. So slowly but surely, he winning her over. So, child, he'll have her soon. So B. Mick told Meech that Dink got cased up by the cops and that he doesn't think he's going to tell anything. To me, Meech seemed like he really didn't give a damn. And he sat there just out of the blue saying it just hit him what K9 was trying to say, that building relationships was way more important than anything else. So Meech goes to see K9, and he's still trying to state his case for him to give him a shot, to put him on and all that, the trust in him and his crew. So he's, you know, basically begging and pleading. So he brings up something about he want to work alone. He don't want to work with his brother. And K9 mentions that Meech and Terry remind him of him and his brother. And who is K9's brother, y'all? Do anybody know who K9's brother is? Let me know, because I don't know. So he says that his brother thought the same way T did, and until he had to put him on what was real. So Meech asked for 10 bricks. K9 said, well, if you could do 10 bricks, I'm going to give you 20. Now, I don't know why Meech is so adamant about working with this crazy behind man. So K9 says, hot potato, you think you can handle the 20? Of course, Meech says yes. And K9 was like, all right, guys, y'all gather around. I got gifts for you. He handing out all these gifts, people getting watches and all this and that. He tells Meech, I got a big special one for you. Meech box look nothing like nobody else box. Meech is all excited and like, oh, you shouldn't have type thing. He opens up his box and we see it's some lips, like somebody's face cut off. And Meech, his whole demeanor changed, like, what the hell is this? What is going on? So K9 told him, I basically handled that for you because Big L, she talked too damn much, so I took care of that. And Meech looking all solemn like, oh, thanks for looking out. And K9 had to tell him, I need my money on time. If I don't get my money on time, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your brother and those 2 dudes you was with at the basketball game. And, you know, he was like, go finish your steak. And he walked the hell off, leaving Meech standing there looking stupid once again. Like, I don't know, Meech. This one here crazy. So Meech has it set up to where T comes and pick him up as a paying customer in the little chauffeur ride thing. So he jumps in the back seat, talking to him about the kind of money he's making. And T is like, I'm making my money legit. I'm good. I'm all right with that for now. I'm making enough, good enough for me. So, you know, Meech is trying to put him down, you know, basically telling them, come back, let's hustle. I got me a supplier now. We can expand and just like we talked about and do the things we always wanted to do, you know, make the kind of money we were supposed to be making. T is like, no, I'm out. I already told you I was out. I'm done. And then he says something about, especially I'm not dealing with no K9, somebody that's killing somebody in broad daylight over a basketball game. And he basically pulled over and told Meech, this your stop right here, basically kicking him out the car. So Meech caught a little attitude, balled up some money, threw it at T, and said, keep the change, called him broke, and then got out the car. So he's still mad at him. So it's time to have the dinner to celebrate T getting his chauffeur's license, which I still don't know if he passed the test for real, for real. But anyway, we meet Miss Mabel. I guess she's the neighbor or something, but the way she's sitting up there looking, Miss Mabel looked like she gonna be the victim of Charles, because Charles ain't over there getting none. It's been like 3 weeks since he had some sex, and Miss Mabel might be his next victim. But we get Nicole and Wanda come in, and Lucille says, Nicole, do you need glasses? She looking like, what you talking about? Like, I know you see Miss Mabel sitting here and you ain't open your mouth to part your lips. See, she a little grown or something already, because you know we remember how she was over there kissing and all that before the little boy got killed. But anyway, so Lucille said, well, what is that on your lips? She said, well, Wanda said, oh, it's just a little lip gloss. So Lucille said, well, you too young for that. You need to go take that off. And Nicole, I don't know why she tried. Her mama said, you need to be more worried about Meech than me. Lucille said, what you say? Next thing we know, Lucille slapped the dog shit out of Nicole. And I wasn't even mad at it. Lucille said, I'm so tired of you got something to say every time I say something to you. Now go take that shit off your face like I said. I said, I know that's right. Then here come Charles in the background talking about, go do what your mama say, Nicole. I'm like, go sit your ass down. So we see Detective Bryant and Jen They're at the hospital, and she's wondering why they're there. And Bryant tells her ever since he lost his last partner, Lopez, that he said he was going to be more transparent going forward with his next partner or whatever. He doesn't want it to end up the way it did. So basically, when he takes her inside the room that's there, she pulls the curtain back, and what do we see? We got Lamar laying up in the hospital bed in a coma after being shot by Meech at the end of season 1. This was quite a nice surprise to see him laying up in the bed like, oh my God, they brought him back. Like, that was a great plot twist. I like it. So at the precinct on the crime board, Lamar is actually listed as deceased. So Veronica, since she just got there, you know, she's calling out his full name, Lamar effing Silas, like, oh, he's on the board, like, what's going on? So basically, Bryant told her that, you know, for his protection, we have it listed that way under another name or whatever, and hopefully he can tell us who shot him when he comes out of the coma. So T goes home with the orchid that he was trying to give Markeisha. So he politely gives it to Wanda as if he really bought it for Wanda. I'm like, boy, look at him. Men know they no good. So she takes it all happy-go-lucky. And they go sit down. His mom, you know, they get ready to sit down and have this celebration dinner for T's quote-unquote chauffeur's license. So Meech, he didn't show up. So it is what it is. I guess they're used to that. So as they sitting down getting ready to eat, Miss Lucille said, Nicole, you want to say the grace? Nicole said, oh, I didn't know I could talk. I say, now see, that's why you got slapped the first damn time. You still over there bumping your damn gums. Her mama gave her that look that mamas give, like, if you don't shut your ass up, you gonna get slapped the hell again. So T end up giving a nice little, he end up doing the grace. He did a good little job. So after dinner was over, we see Charles and Miss Mabel and Nicole sitting at the table. Now, like I said before, keep y'all good eye on Miss Mabel and Charles. And that's probably why Nicole didn't want to speak to her, because she already know her daddy probably trying to hunch Miss Mabel, or Miss Mabel trying to hunch her daddy. One of the two. So we got Lucille and Wanda in the kitchen. They in there sniggling and giggling because they felt like they done got away with murder, and they done got cased up because now T standing in the doorway listening to their ass. And he was like, well, what y'all in here talking about? Like, oh, y'all set me up, blah, blah, blah. So he done got mad and flew all off the handle, done started cursing and all that. Miss Lucille went deflecting about using the Lord's name in vain and all this and that. Basically, they got caught. And T stormed off and hit the wall or whatever. And Lucille said, now hit something else. So basically, T is mad because Lucille put Wanda up to taking his baby and running off, not really saying anything about it, making like she just leaving because he wouldn't get out the game and all of that. So, you know, he just basically feels betrayed. And I come to find out the whole family knew about it. And she just popped up out the blue, coming back like nothing ever happened when it all was a setup to begin with. So that's kind of why he's mad about that. Meanwhile, Meech didn't show up to the dinner because he got his own thing going on over there with his homeboys. He got the 50 boys and the 12th Street boys. They're all come together as one. He says they're not going to go under those names anymore from now on. The one group as a whole will now be called BMF, Black Mafia Family. They toast. Meech pretty much runs everything down. Like, if you don't want to be involved, if you can't stand up, if you not this, you not that, go ahead and leave. You know, we don't need you here. If you want to be here, stand up, stand tall. And, you know, everybody that wanted to stay, they all stayed. And they toasted to BMF. So we got Meech and B. Mick talking. And Meech basically telling B. Mick that he want him to be his right-hand man. And he says he's proven his loyalty to him and all this and that. B Mick looking like he want to piss on himself. He looking nervous, all shifty-eyed and shit. And Meech was like, I thought you'd be a little more happy about it. He was like, I got you, shaking in his boots. And he comes up with this thing about, oh, you know, I got to take care of my mom. And I'm like, why we haven't seen his mom yet? Like, what's up with that? She's been so sick. Shouldn't we have seen him go see her in the hospital or in the house, in the bedroom or something? Like, it just seemed like he uses that as an excuse. Like, I need y'all to show B Mick's mom. We need to see that, because as far as we know, the lady already dead somewhere and don't nobody know nothing about it. That's how slick and slimy he could be. But anyway, they go to talking about, you know, each other's moms and this and that and the other. So Meech end up telling B Mick, you know, I love you, man. B Mick ain't say it back. He said 100. And they shake hands. I'm like, now, I need Meech to be a little more calculating and pay attention to what's going on. But I'm hoping he already put two and two together and he just, you know, playing B Mick out and trying to see how far he gonna take it. But I hope he's paying attention. So B Mick, he goes home, and when he gets inside, we see Detective Brian sitting in the dark in his house. So he's like, what are you doing here? How you got in? And Brian is like, you know, I'm the popo. I can get in anywhere, especially when somebody dodging me. So we know he's been running from Bryant because he don't want to give up no information. And B Mick is like, well, I already gave you Kato. And he was like, I don't want that. Like, that's not what I want. He want Meech. He needs something big. Like, Kato wasn't nothing. And he let him know, you know, he still got his gun that got the 2 bodies on it, so he can get him charged for double homicide at any given time. So he basically told him he need to come up with something, and come up with something soon. He ends up leaving, and B Mick standing there looking all crazy and scared again. And once again, he did bring up his mother to Detective Bryant, talking about he been taking care of his mama. And Detective Bryant was like, well, here I am. Thought you was out with some broad. So we go back over there to the hospital, and Lamar opens his eyes. And they start playing Ready or Not, Here I Come, You Can't Hide. I said, oh my. And that's where the episode ends. Are you all excited that Lamar is out of his coma and he's back? Will B Mick give up Meech or any other information that's going to be detrimental to BMF? You guys leave your thoughts, comments, and theories down below. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.